Did you get the last message? I don't know. I don't know. Again, that's not.
Very good.
No. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Town of Griswold Board of Finance to order, May 20th, 2025. At 6 p.m. in the Town Hall Meeting Room. First order on the agenda, first item, roll call to order.
We have all members with the exception of Mark DePonte present.
Okay, the second item on the agenda is public forum. Does anyone wish to speak? Okay, we're going to move on to item 3, approval of minutes. A, March 18th, 2025, regular meeting minutes.
Make a motion that we accept those minutes for March 18th, regular meeting. Second.
Okay, first and second, any discussion? Or no, we're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. March 24, 2025, special meeting minutes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Okay, first and second, any discussion? Or no, we're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. C, March 27th, 2025, special meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Or no, we're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 3D, April 29, 2025, public hearing minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? We're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 3E, April 29, 2025, special meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? We're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New business, item 4, new business, 4A, Finance Director's Monthly Report.
All right, I sent you the revenue and expenditure report for the current fiscal year. Revenues reported today were $41,834,257.67. That is 98.88% of budgeted revenues. I think we're gonna come in a little above what we had budgeted, so we're in good shape there. Expenditures reported to date were at $34,918,532.07. That is 82.53% of budgeted expenditures. We still haven't resolved the tipping fee issue, but I still anticipate coming in under budget as a whole. I provided a list of things currently over budget. We will do transfers at the next meeting as we get closer to the end of the year. So I have the reason why the items are overspent, so I'll be happy to answer questions with those. And as far as our fund balance, right now I'm projecting as a percent of the current year budget to be around 20.41% at the end of the year. But if you take into account the 550 that we're using out of that, and that'll bring us down to 19.11% of the current year budget and 18.19% of the proposed budget. So using that 550 to help cover capital costs, brought our fund balance down more in the range where we're looking to be.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Mr. Chairman? Eric, what's the percent increase in the tonnage of waste? You're saying there's a drastic increase.
The tonnage hasn't increased a lot, or the tonnage has from one carrier. It's gone up probably, I'd say 75%.
And that's for just for that one carrier.
Right.
How many carriers do we have?
2.
Have we made any headway in that investigation?
We made multiple calls to schedule meetings with no returns yet.
What would you anticipate the next step in the process being, assuming that there's no change in their response or lack of response?
Charging full price, not the scarab price. Right now, we're charging them a subsidized fee.
Is that just because the fees for the audit increased?
Yes.
Or is it because they had to do extra work on the audit because of the problems we've had in the?
No, that was the quoted audit fee that we had last year.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing additional.
We were too far deep to actually go out to bid, so we were more or less handcuffed with having to renew at whatever they wanted to make the stated rate. Any other questions? Okay, we're gonna move on then to 4B, discussion and possible action on suspense list provided by tax collector. Leona?
Hello, good evening, everybody. So this is, a statutory requirement that I come before the board every year. The list of accounts, as described, majority of them are folks who are deceased that can be no longer considered an active collectible. Some of them are bankruptcy accounts that have been discharged through the bankruptcy court, so those are no longer, collectible as well. There were a couple of real estate pieces that were small. They were like pieces that were merged some years ago. It was never absorbed correctly, so it's not considered an active collectible. So the grand total for all the accounts that are listed in the spreadsheet that I provided to all of you is a total of $35,408.80. That goes on to an inactive collectible list, but they are still collectible for 15 years from the due date of those taxes. And that's basically it in a nutshell. But I do need, per law approval to put these accounts into an inactive status.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
okay, first and second, any discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
On the date of birth column, there's abbreviations RE and PT. What do those stand for?
Those are the real estate accounts and the personal property accounts. The other ones are all motor vehicle or motor vehicle supplemental accounts.
Okay, any other questions? We're gonna vote, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. 4C, discussion of possible action on tax collector old credit balances.
Well, hello again. So these are, people send in a check, their bill $7.97, they want to round it to $8. They, have an adjustment done to a tax bill, it generates a credit that's typically less than $2. I do not refund anything that's $2 or less because I don't generate bills that are $2 or less. So therefore, I don't refund them, for those credits. Some of them, if the person is deceased, the estate made a payment to it, chapter 13 trustee, they make a payment to it, it's never correct, it's always off. Those generate credits from time to time, but, so you can see that 50 of the accounts on the spreadsheet that I provided to you are for $2 or less. But I need, again, this is a statutory requirement to allow, these credits are currently already have been in the general fund. This just legally allows that transfer for these credits to stay in the general fund. And the total is $33.02.
Make the motion.
A second.
Okay, we have a first and second, any discussion? And we're gonna vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question for the tax collector.
Go ahead.
You know that I ask almost every year, if you file, an invoice to an estate when you get that, when you get notice that the person has died, do you also submit an invoice to the probate court so the court has a copy of that?
Yes, I
Invoice.
generate a letter along with a copy of the accounts that are due to be paid to the fiduciary and the probate court that's handling the estate.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll move on to 4D, discussion of possible action on fiscal year 24 audit. That is on here because I think we're all led to believe that the audit was pretty much wrapped up. However, in my conversations with Eric, that apparently is not the case. You have not received an official draft copy, correct?
Right, I received a tentative draft, probably almost 2 weeks ago now.
Okay,
And with the caveat that Chris, the partner, was still reviewing it, so there may be changes. I'm about 90% done reviewing it, and I'll have it done by the end of the week. I'm hoping that they'll be ready to finalize it then. They've had everything they need from us for quite a while now, so I'm not sure what the holdup has been. They haven't asked me for anything in probably a couple of months now, so. I'm hoping that once I say, okay, I reviewed it, there aren't any more changes and they can finalize.
okay,
Because I definitely want it done by the end of the month.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all probably a little surprised on that, because like, when we talked, we thought it was timeline was somewhere around the end of February or beginning of March when they said, okay, we're
Yeah,
all set, we have everything we need, so we were anticipating things to,
that's why I reached out at the beginning of the month and said, let's
okay,
get the status, what's going on.
Okay.
That's when they sent me the draft.
okay. And they're aware that we are expecting a presentation
Yeah,
once everything is finalized.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I only ask that because obviously the next one on our agenda is gonna be looking at who we're gonna be looking at for our auditors, and it may or may not be them. But obviously that's a key component to the audit process is the presentation.
right.
So, okay. If you get any new information with regard to the status, if you can let us know, shoot us an email just so that we have some current info, because it's gonna all be done by June 30, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
And so all of the delay is on their end?
At this point, it has. been.
Okay, so they're not waiting for anything?
No, they
from us?
haven't for quite a while.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we're gonna move on to 4E, discussion and possible action on RFP for audit services. You wanna do a quick overview? No?
Sure.
Okay.
Hopefully you all got the packets I sent in the mail. Just wanted you to have time to look them over before tonight. We put the RFP out. We only had 2 responses, which has been pretty much the norm with most small towns lately. Unless you're a big town, there's not a lot of interest. Or a big city, but we did get 2 responses, one from our current auditor and one from our previous auditor. The cost proposals are in there separate. The low bid was O'Connor Davies, which was our prior auditor. Their bid for the current year audit is $68,724. King and Associates, our current auditor, was at $72,000, and they each go up a little bit each year. So. That's about it. I mean. Either one we pick, we've had experience with them, so I don't know what your feeling is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How many years have we been with the King?
5 now.
Just my opinion from past experience. And I'm not going by the bid, I'm just going by having a different set of eyes on the books than the same eyes for a length of time like that. My opinion is that we could change eyes on our budget.
Thank you. So you all know that I don't tend to ever offer up any opinions very, very purposely for the board, because I don't want to influence anybody's decision here. However, I do just want to make a couple of comments. Outside of the fact that O'Connor Davies is considerably less expensive than King and King. It is certainly preferred, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, that we do switch up auditing companies from time to time, and that we don't continue to use the same. So that kind of fits, you know, the round peg in the round hole in two spaces. However, for the benefit, I guess, for those that haven't been on the board, when we did have our contract with, who was this, O'Connor Davies. There's a member that would be doing our audit that the board by and large at the time, for that duration that they did the audit, had kind of an issue with. They were, I think, I would have to describe it as less than cooperative when it came time to having to do the presentation to the Board of Finance. They were, I don't know if I want to say uncooperative also in providing us with the drill down of information that we were requesting and expecting as a result of having the audit. And it was extremely difficult to get anything other than a very canned cookie cutter 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out dissertation of where we were. I have some significant concerns if we're going to go down that road again with this firm. So I would hope that as a board, that if we decide this is the direction we want to take and hire this firm, that in our engagement letter with them and subsequent engagement